Hey guys, welcome to Bookish Islander. My name is Juan and I hope you're doing very well. Today I have something new for you. As you know, if you watched my lockdown vlog last week, I'm trying to put out some extra content during the week on top of my usual video every Saturday. Thankfully, I have an ever-growing list of ideas for videos here on my phone, and one of them is talking about new releases that I'm excited about. Now, I've never done this on my channel, and the reason for it is that I don't really tend to read that many new releases, or at least I never used to before being on BookTube. But in the couple of weeks and months, there have been a few releases that have caught my eye and I like to read. The first one is my Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell, which has only recently been published. It is a debut novel that tells the story of a sexual relationship between a 15-year-old girl and her English teacher. A little bit ago, I read a similar book, a French book called Consentement by Vanessa Springora, that also was a reverse Lolita narrative. So it's the abuser telling the story of the abused. And I enjoyed that book so much that I recommended it here on my channel, even though it is not available in English yet. Springora's book, the French book, was based on her own life and her relationship with the acclaimed French writer Gabriel Matzneff. So I guess we can say that it is autofiction. Now, from what I understand, in my Dark Vanessa, the material is also at least in part autobiographical. The story in my Dark Vanessa has two timelines. In one, Vanessa is a 15-year-old in a boarding school where her 40-something English teacher, Jacob Strain, lends her books and gradually becomes physically attached to her. The other timeline has Vanessa as a 30-something on a path of self-destruction through drug abuse and anonymous sex. My Dark Vanessa sounds like a complex and nuanced book, and I think I'll get to it pretty soon. Now, the next release I want to check out is Apartment by Teddy Wayne. This novel deals with the friendship between two young men doing a creative writing course at Columbia University in 1996. One of those men is the unnamed narrator, who is an upper middle class person who comes from the Northeast in the US, and the other one is Billy, who is a brilliant scholarship student from Illinois. The two men end up living together after the unnamed narrator offers Billy a place at his apartment rent-free. Now, I think Apartment has my name written all over it. Why? Because I am attracted to campus novels, Bildungsroman, and narratives about writers and literature, and it seems like this novel has all of that and a bag of chips. The only problem is that Apartment will not come out on this side of the Atlantic until May this year, but I'll see if I can get a copy of it before somehow. I just would love to read this novel right now. The next novel also features an apartment, but that's probably the only similarity it shares with Wayne's book. Fiebre Tropical by Juliana Delgado Lopera is a coming-of-age story about a Colombian teenager who moves to Miami from Bogota with her family. The teenager, Francisca, is disappointed with the real Miami she encounters when she gets there. She's only 15, she speaks both English and Spanish, and she struggles both with her religion and with her sexuality. And to make matters even worse, Francisca lives with her multi-generational family in a small apartment. I've seen Fiebre Tropical compared to Catcher in the Rye, and that makes me want to read it even more. Now, the next novel sounds totally different. Abigail is a novel written by the Hungarian author Magda Szabó and translated into English by Len Rix. This novel is a new release in English, but it first came out in Hungarian back in 1970. Magda Szabó, and I'm probably butchering her name, apologies, wrote novels, poetry, plays, and essays, and she died in 2007. Apparently, Abigail was her most famous novel in Hungary, her native country. What is Abigail? Abigail is an adventure novel about a girl, Gina, who lives in Hungary during World War II. This novel was so successful in Hungary that it was adapted as a TV series in 1978 and later as a stage musical. And I am shocked that this novel has taken 50 years to come out in English. Now, in the novel, Gina attends a boarding school called Bishop Machula Academy, where she struggles to keep any personal signs of individuality. So what is Abigail? What does the title refer to? Well, Abigail is the name of a statue in the school garden. And there is a myth whereby if you write down a request and place it into the statue's urn, the statue will grant it. Jenna dismisses this myth as childish superstition at first, but then she starts wondering about it when she sees that things do come true and wishes are granted. And I don't know about you, but I am curious to read Abigail now that it's finally available in English. One of the new releases I can start reading right now is Strange Hotel by Eimear McBride, and I'm probably also butchering the name, and I can read that now thanks to NetGalley. I requested a copy and I got it, but I have to read it before May, which is fine. Strange Hotel is the third novel by McBride. Her first two novels were A Girl is a Half-Formed Thing, and The Lesser Bohemians was her second novel. Now, I have not read either one of them, but I'm sure I will if I like Strange Hotel. Although I've heard that Strange Hotel is very different from her previous two novels. The book is told by an unnamed female narrator in her 30s who checks into several hotel rooms in different cities around the world. Places like Avignon in France, Prague in the Czech Republic, Oslo in Norway, Auckland in New Zealand, or Austin, Texas. From what I've read about this novel, there is no context, no given reason as to why the narrator goes to all those different hotels. So I'm already preparing for getting ready for not letting that become frustrating. And, I probably haven't been to as many hotels as the unnamed narrator does in this novel. But just enough to know that hotel rooms are pretty strange. I never sleep properly on my first night in a hotel room. I've just never been able to do that, and I'm not entirely sure why. Anyway, Strange Hotel sounds like a claustrophobic read, so it might not be the best thing to read while living in confinement, or maybe it will be, I just don't know. I also have Weather by Jenny Offill. Offill, I don't know how her name is pronounced, as an ebook. I have it as an ebook, and a lot of people are talking about this novel, and I'm sure I've watched other booktubers talk about it. I just can't remember who, but I might pick up Weather soon, only because it is so short that it barely qualifies as a novella. The narrator of Weather is Lizzie Benson, who is a librarian who works on a university library. She's married to a man who works in IT, and they have a child who attends a special program for bright children at the local school. I understand that Weather is set in Trump's America, so it might be better to read it now, since here's to hoping we are in an election year and Trump's days as president may be numbered. Famous last words. Anyway, Weather seems to have an environmental slant, or at least I'm hoping it is just a slant, because let me just say it, I don't do well with fiction with heavy-handed messages, but we will see. I'm going to try to get to Weather soon, so watch out for a full review soon. And the last new release that has caught my attention is Young Heroes of the Soviet Union by Alex Halberstadt. Now, this is a memoir and couldn't be any more different from all the other books I've talked about so far in this video. And it is a rare choice for me, because if you follow my channel for a while, you'll know that I hardly read nonfiction, but I don't have anything against nonfiction. I like good writing, so I can read any genre or any kind of book as long as it's well written. Now, the author of this book investigates his family's history in the former Soviet Union. The book, in fact, is a result of a quest that took him from Ukraine to Lithuania to Moscow. Young Heroes of the Soviet Union is published by Penguin Random House, and in their website they say that Young Heroes of the Soviet Union is a moving investigation into the fragile boundary between history and biography. I'm interested in this book as an investigation into how national transformations affect individuals and their families. I might read it soon, but then again, I might save Young Heroes of the Soviet Union until November for Nonfiction November. We'll see again. In the meantime, please let me know if you have read or are interested in reading any of these new releases. I hope you are keeping safe in these difficult times. I really hope you are. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you again very soon. Bye for now.